Call of Duty Black Ops 7 has now done the impossible. It has united the entire internet pretty much against a common enemy that has to be annihilated before long. That enemy is artificial intelligence, and hilariously, for a game series that tackles the concept of AI and false narratives, it's being criticized so badly for pushing the idea that AI should be normalized when it comes to game development and more. And now congressmen are claiming that things need to be changed before they get even worse, and there's a lot more over to go off too. But let's start with that Congress stuff, because Black Ops 7 just might be the catalyst to staving off a form of AI slop swarming and replacing the regular human beings that are making video games. This is from Insider Gaming. Black Ops 7 AI controversy catches attention of US congressmen. We need regulations. So the tweet in question that started this conversation came from Pirate Nation on Twitter. Here's that tweet where they posted the AI calling cards you've likely seen already. This then led to Charlie Intel reposting what Pirate Nation did, although without crediting them until backlash hit Charlie Intel for stealing Pirate Nation's tweet pretty much. Yeah, it's a mess, but anyway. So when Charlie Intel repurposed Pirate Nation's tweet, this then caught the attention of Ro Khanna, someone who works in American Congress, and this is what Ro Khanna said. We need regulations that prevent companies from using AI to eliminate jobs to extract greater profits. Artists at these companies need to have a say in how AI is deployed. They should share in the profits, and there should be a tax on mass displacement. It's an interesting prospect, but I seriously doubt that Activision nor Microsoft would ever allow that to happen. Like, the truth of the matter is simple, guys. Microsoft, which owns Activision Blizzard and Call of Duty, they don't really care about the human element when it comes to their games, in case you haven't noticed. Far too many of their games are already just lacking that human element already. I mean, they ruined Halo, nobody bought The Outer Worlds 2, and Call of Duty is pretty much one of the few franchises they have that people still buy. And like I said in my previous video about this, they want to meet this demand for players by relying far more on AI than not doing it. Because not only is it cheaper for Microsoft and Activision, it's faster too. Ro Khanna did say more. He said, a company replacing artists with AI is not much different than one that replaces truck drivers. AI cannot just be for enriching tech billionaires, AI must be for us, not them. I mean, it is a good stance because right now, largely speaking, AI is mostly being driven by, like he said, the billionaires of the world. It's all about profits and speed. Why pay someone who went to school who learned to code if a robot can do the same job for no money? The reason why this is a slippery slope is because Call of Duty, prior to the mass use of AI, was already being accused of being lazy. How many times has Activision remastered a map from previous Call of Duty games into their newer titles? I remember playing Black Ops Cold War and just being astounded by how much of the multiplayer maps were just being places I've played before in other games. And then when I played Black Ops 7 for review on the channel, which I'll talk about the story later on in this video now that I beat the campaign, I was kind of amazed to see maps aplenty that I've played hundreds of times in these games too. Everything at this point is just a copy of a replacement of a duplicate of something that you've done before. It doesn't mean that Call of Duty's signature buttery smooth gameplay isn't there. It is. But that's also what's also, it's really frustrating. It's just so frustrating. Like, it's what could be here. It should be amazing and great, but it's just held back by the limitation, not of just AI, but even just the people who run this thing. Eventually, these games will just be made by AI entirely. Like, I genuinely believe that. I mean, the systems are already in place. The human element would have to be small compared to what AI could reasonably create for a game like Call of Duty. And if you want more content, by the way, not made by AI, consider liking the video, subscribing, and all of that. Thank you. But the gameplay is refined as well. The level up systems are done because they do the same thing in every game. They just need content for content's sake to unlock it and keep you busy. But if that content being made is just slop that is churned out through an algorithm, then I ask you the question, and let me know what you think as always, which is, are these things even worth unlocking or chasing and getting if the stuff that's being made is quite literally just meat that's being grinded by these machines? I think I need to justify my statement, so let me just do that right now, okay? Here's an article from frvr.com where they state that your $70 means nothing anymore when it comes to buying most games. Because they state that Black Ops 7 also has AI generated posters within its maps and campaign levels to just fill the space up without actually like don't even have to pay artists for anything anymore, dude. Like that already makes me wonder like how many artists out there have their art in Call of Duty without even knowing it or being paid for it. Of course you know the calling cards, but did you know there's another unlockable that is also completely AI created as well? You guys know the prestige system in Call of Duty, right? For those who somehow don't, prestige is this thing where when you hit max level in multiplayer, and then you can reset your account level, but you get new avatar icons to tell everyone else how many times you've prestige to show how dedicated you are to the game. Anyways, these prestige icons are meant to be like the ultimate achievement in Call of Duty for many, to show how much you love the game and how often you play, which is totally fine. Like surely those icons are made by human hands, right? Except this time around, they aren't. Look at these. Here's your prestige icons on screen in Black Ops 7. These are 100% confirmed to be AI generated slop pushed out of the content machine for you to obtain. You ask me, these prestige icons are an insult to your dedication to this sort of game. Like not only are the calling cards you obtain not made by human hands, but even your dedication is so pointless and unimportant to Activision Blizzard that they've gone ahead and made your grand achievement just a prompt that they type into a computer. Again, the art used for these prestige icons, they have to have been taken from somewhere because AI cannot create anything new. It has to be from somewhere else. And I really wouldn't be surprised if in the future we see artists coming out to state that, hey, Activision has 100% stolen my artwork for any of the dozens of designs that are in Black Ops 7 alone. Like, I don't know about you guys, but if I grinded to max level in a game and I was rewarded with something that took the company 2 seconds to make, I would feel insulted. It just proves that Activision doesn't really care anymore. It's an icon. If they add more prestige levels, they'll just keep adding AI prompts to meet that demand, but it just feels pointless because what's the point? And frankly, if this sort of stuff exists in a AAA game priced at $70 American, it cannot be allowed to exist the way that it is. It is a genuine detriment to the series. The fans, your money, your loyalty, your time, all of it. You should not have to pay money for a game if they are not willing to even pay their artists and workers to make these things that they're selling to you. It just feels like you're playing some weird scam game from like an app shop, but there's a $70, amount that's missing from your bank account suddenly. I do think the way that frvr.com puts it here is perfect, so here's what they said about it. When I pay for a game, I pay for a service to the creatives making that game. The same way if I'm paying for a book, I'm paying for the writer who spent months typing that story out in their word processor of choice. When AI replaces human artists, it's not just the artist getting shafted, it's also you getting ripped off. You used to be paying for this art, now you're paying for nothing, but you're still paying. And that's really what it all comes down to. I'm totally fine paying money for things as long as the things I'm paying for was made by the loving hands of other people. The reason why games like Dark Souls, Final Fantasy VII, or Chrono Trigger are they're so beloved to someone like me and many others is because those games were not made with AI. Well, they couldn't be anyways. They were made before such technology even existed, and thank God for that one. But that is why I love games like that, because I know that every enemy placement, every level design, every boss was lovingly crafted by some nerd at a studio who took their dorky talents and then made something utterly amazing for me to play. And I love paying money for stuff made by dorky nerds. I want to keep buying and playing things made by more dorky nerds with their awesome skills because it's great. But at this point, it isn't a game. This isn't art. This is anti-everything the industry should stand for. And the fact that Black Ops 7 has caught the attention of a congressman is good because he's right. Regulations do need to be put in place before long. There needs to be an AI watermark placed on the cover of these games at least, in like huge letters, if these companies want to use AI to make their games the way they do. So at least that consumers can look at that cover and go, oh, this was made with AI. Cool. I guess I'm not buying it then, because that's usually what's going to happen anyways. But with Call of Duty, it's just inexcusable, especially considering you had Black Ops 6, which just came out last year, as tweaktown.com reported here, and it made over $1 billion in less than 1 week of sale, and ended up actually being the biggest Call of Duty launch in that series history, making more money than any previous title in a similar period. By around 2022 to 2023-ish, Call of Duty as a franchise has made somewhere near $31 billion for Activision Blizzard, by the way. So I don't want to hear that they don't have the money to pay artists or designers when they absolutely do. I think it would be cool if Activision just took maybe $1 million of their budget and used that to comb through artists on social media and just see who they could commission to make some calling cards or the icons for their next Call of Duty game. You could get thousands of artists to make really cool stuff in the future for your game. You could even leave like info icons on each calling card with the artist's Twitter profiles or their professional websites. It would let those artists get into the industry easier, it would make their following bigger, and you would have great content in your game. And it wouldn't even really cost Activision much to do so. They would make back the money they would spend on the commissions in like less than a day of sales anyways. It would also restore goodwill in the community and get real artists' names and work out there, and you wouldn't be getting dogpiled for making utter AI slop. Just pay the dorky nerds to make the content is what I'm saying. But the truth is that Activision higher-ups, they frankly just don't care. They'd rather just keep that $1 million and just take the art that those artists already made, run it through an algorithm, and just rip them off instead. And $1 billion isn't even enough for Activision anyway, since they admitted, as seen here again from Tweaktown, that Black Ops 6 could have made another $300 million if they didn't release it on Game Pass because players just got Game Pass to play it instead. Oh, poor Activision. They only made $1 billion plus in a week. How could we do this to these executives, guys? Now they can only buy 2 vacation homes with their yearly bonuses instead of 4 and a new speedboat. How dare we, right? I hope Black Ops 7, by the way, loses them even more money on principle alone, because this cannot stand. And I do think we need to make an example out of Black Ops 7 for the rest of the industry to also not do these things either. Sure, the gaming community likely will voice their opinions that they're against AI, but the sad reality is that the silent majority of buyers will pretty much buy anything and have no knowledge of these things in the first place. Mostly because they either don't care or they just don't know, and Activision hopes to keep it that way. I will give them some credit, okay? As seen here from PC Gamer, Black Ops 7 has reduced the skill-based matchmaking from what I've played this year. Yeah, it feels that way, alright? It doesn't mean that it's perfect. I've definitely still entered matches where I'm immediately put on a team where people were leaving instantly because it was like a one-sided shoot fest. We've all been there, but generally, yes, it does feel decent. Now, is it enough to save the game? Probably not, but if you're someone who relies on games like this being good for revenue and content, to really the surprise of no one, those sorts of people are obviously defending this game. For example, you have Tim the Tadman recently who said that anyone who hates on this game is just being negative for negative's sake. Here, watch this clip.
Why are so many people complaining? It's a cool thing to hate on COD right now. And I mean, people are just like, yeah, dude, this game sucks, which I mean, it's whatever. And you know what? They're allowed to think that way. I will say this. I wish that, well, I guess I could just, if you just close your eyes, you don't see the comments, guys. Nate sold out to crypto gambling, so he sucks now. I will say this, Chad. I'll speak for you guys. Like, I would say, like, here's the thing, man. And I think this is just in life in general, right? When people complain, the people that are negative are typically the loudest. Does that make sense? Like I think that's just in life. Like when you have especially if you're online, you know what I mean? Like the people that complain are the loudest. So like you're not going to see, like if I tweet I'm going live with Call of Duty, you're not going to see people in there like saying, oh dude, I can't wait to watch you play COD. That person's just going to click on the stream and just watch, right? Versus the people that are going to complain about me playing COD. Those are the people that are going to be like, oh, like type it all out and send the message. You know what I'm saying? Versus the people that are probably enjoying it, they're just sitting there watching, just enjoying, not complaining. Which if you're doing that, you're a fool, bro. You really are, man.
And I can see where he's coming from, that he's tired of the negativity, so to speak, but in reality, Tim is obviously dependent on games like this doing well for viewership, so it makes sense why he would defend it instead of being opposed against it. But that being said, I don't think it's just a loud minority. People are frankly just sick of Call of Duty doing what they're doing time and time again for so long and unchecked. Tim should instead voice his opinions against it, but he probably never will because, well, he has ties to the game.
Don't ask questions. Just consume product and then get excited for next product.
Although, credit where it's due at least, he did pull his bundle from the store years ago, which was this one on screen up until 2023. Tim did have his own operator bundle in Call of Duty, but again, he got rid of it. But the guy still obviously has ties to Activision, so I get it. He doesn't want to criticize them per se, because doing so would limit his opportunities in the future. But I think saying anyone who is against the slop is a hater, that's just tired and honestly a dumb response. You should expect more more than what you're being given here, you should not be so quick to excuse the mistakes of a mega corporation that does not care about you. But Tim saying people who just ignore the hate and play is not going to change anything, all you're doing is feeding their engagement while things will get worse unless change happens instead. Like, Call of Duty can be great again, but right now it is so terribly anti-everything games should be. People are voicing their opinions how they can, at least. For example, on Metacritic as seen here, the game has an abysmal 1.6 from users. Are they review bombing? Absolutely. But it's warranted because what's going on here is inexcusable. Like I said, this isn't even the first time. Because back in Modern Warfare 3, as in the second Modern Warfare 3 that came out in 2023, which is so stupid, dude, that I even need to clarify that because Activision sucks at naming their games. But anyway, they got in trouble for using AI to make their Yokai's Wrath bundle. Here's the bundle on screen here. So this was confirmed 100% to be made with AI, and yet it was being sold for real money to players to buy in Modern Warfare 3. But it gets even worse as seen here from IGN. So that Yokai Wraths bundle that was sold for $15 American, it was actually not disclosed to users who bought the pack that the bundle was made using generative AI. Yeah, Activision actually hid that from their consumers, but it gets even shadier. Because following the acquisition of Activision by Microsoft, they laid off 1,900 people following the merger, but it did not end there. Anonymous sources then spoke to IGN who worked as artists on Call of Duty during this time frame. This is what they told IGN. A lot of 2D artists were laid off. One anonymous Activision artist told the site. Remaining concept artists were then forced to use AI to aid in their work. Activision employees were allegedly made to sign up for AI training with its use promoted throughout the business. So that's kind of nuts, isn't it? Activision has been, according to the source, forcing their artists to use AI on purpose since at least as early as 2022, which was before Modern Warfare 3 obviously came out, which had that stuff too, which unsurprisingly reviewed horribly and fans really hated that game. I avoided it like the plague. That's like the one Call of Duty game I never bought, and thank God I didn't. We have even more worrying stuff as IGN spoke to the head of PlayStation Studios product, whose name is Assad Quizzlebash, and that is definitely a real name. And he claims that AI can and should be used to make more meaningful experience for players. Here's what he told IGN about it. For instance, non-player characters in games could interact with players based on their actions, making it feel more personal. This is important for the younger Gen Z and Gen Alpha audiences who are the first generations that grew up digitally and are looking for personalization across everything, as well as looking for experiences to have more meaning. Well, that's bleak, isn't it? So instead of making meaningful connections through actual art or design, one of the head guys at PlayStation, no less, like Activision, thinks that AI could just be used to fill that gap instead. Like, are we in for a slop future, guys? Because it sounds like we are. But it gets even weirder and more concerning because IGN then also quoted Andrew Wilson, who's the CEO of EA, who also confirmed to see here that with AI, Electronic Arts has used it actually to help with over 50% of their development already. And this was back in July 2024, by the way, when this article was first published. And they admit that they've used this AI technology to even make stadiums in their sports games in 6 weeks, as opposed to taking 6 months. Again, it's no surprise why Electronic Arts would use such technology, especially in their yearly series. Because just like Call of Duty, these games come out every year. Content has to be made quickly, and what a better way than Command-C, than Command-V all your stuff over and over again and keep selling it. This is why I think it's important to bring this up, and again, Tim the Tat Man is fine with this clearly because he just said he doesn't care. He's not really interested in how the sauce gets made as long as the sauce tastes good, but if you knew, honestly, that the sauce was actually being made of like melted plastic and rat meat, you'd probably have some concerns, wouldn't you? After all, the Call of Duty team already responded to being called lazy and derivative a month or two back as well. As seen here from IGN, the Associative Creative Director Miles Leslie spoke to IGN and others about people claiming that their games are lazy. I won't read it all, but here it is on screen for you. Leslie pretty much essentially, he just says that he's aware of it and he thinks they need to prove people wrong, I guess. And look, like I said, the multiplayer in the game is fun, okay, but by God is the stuff surrounding it just things people clearly cannot enjoy due to morals. Activision needs to backpedal from this AI push, which honestly, I think despite the massive backlash, they probably won't do it anyways, because they will continue to normalize it until it becomes just that, normalized. And as more people grow up with Call of Duty, they'll become normalized to it as well, the same way they have microtransactions and eventually comfortable knowing that AI is just here to stay. But that first week is the most important for games like this because it's where they make all of their money. And Activision is also allegedly, according to one streamer named Cloaksy, that they have issued contracts to make streamers play only Call of Duty Black Ops 7 for the first week that it releases. Here's that clip where Cloaksy claims this, so please watch.
Did I unlock the harp yet?
Chat. He can't play COD. I mean, he can't play Arc Raiders because he has a week-long COD ad, and he can only play COD for a week. Everyone point and laugh at him.
This really wouldn't surprise me, but it is telling that Activision would rather spend their budget paying streamers to stream Black Ops 7 to their audiences than maybe spend even a fraction of that budget on real artists who make the content in the game for you to chase and unlock. But it is obviously more important for them to get eyes on the game, to push it up the Twitch viewer stats and on YouTube to entice people to buy it. And frankly, I think it works for them because the reality is that people will buy and play Call of Duty regardless. It still bothers me at its core that Black Ops 7 is a fun game. It genuinely is fun to shoot things and unlock stuff. But man, could it be much better if Activision just wasn't so scummy, dude. But then you have even some other streamers that are having so much fun playing this game that they are, well, falling asleep while playing it. Here, check out this clip.
Okay, maybe this time.
Hardpoint active. Hostiles have the hardpoint.
Yeah, that guy legit just fell asleep mid-match. I don't know whether to be impressed that he somehow wasn't shot once the entire time he was snoozing, but there you go. That's Black Ops 7 for you. So good, it will put you to sleep apparently. But as you can see from everything presented here, Black Ops 7 is getting pulled apart in multiple directions. Do I think the game will flop? Probably not. It's Call of Duty, but hopefully it's nowhere near where it should be either. Look, I beat the campaign as well, and the story is just pointless. You beat Emma Kagan, that's the white lady with the black tattoos, by shooting rockets from her robots at her bunker by calling down kill streaks. Okay, none of this makes sense. For let me explain this, okay? How am I calling down missiles from the sky inside a closed bunker where the battle takes place that's also under the ocean? Why is Kagan not able to take out Mason and his friends if they're tripping on the scarecrow toxins that she developed in the first place? But anyways, you beat Kagan, I guess. You pick her up and she's totally fine. There's no damage done to her at all because I guess we can't afford to, up her model or something. I don't know. And then you escape by climbing up a set of floating shipping containers into the ocean, and then you get away in a speedboat. And this all happens, by the way, in a boss fight where zombies and spiders are attacking you the entire time. Yeah, it doesn't make any sense at all. Then you blow up the facility and it's like, oh, we won, and they get away, and then you're thrown into some weird extraction shooter mode like out of nowhere, which has absolutely zero relevance to the plot, and then you just extract, I guess, and that's it. Oh, and the game teases some bald white guy as the next main villain, I guess. I think his name is Alden. I could be wrong. Honestly, I'm already forgetting the campaign in my brain. It's so forgettable. But the only courses that Activision should be putting their devs through is how to not use AI and instead how to just write better stories, man. Because the world of Black Ops now is so bafflingly bad. And if you ask me, its greatest enemy is Activision's own design documents at this point. Again, okay, the multiplayer is fun at times. I admit it. It's zombies, like whatever. But good lord, man, does Black Ops 7 just embody everything that is just wrong with AAA gaming. They don't care anymore. It's just prompts and sludge for the machine now in bundles and God knows what else, but I truly hope that we get the real sales numbers eventually. Sure, it won't flop, it's Call of Duty, but at least we can then see if such a backlash has had any real impact on this series. Because if you ask me, things need to change. Otherwise, we're just going to be left in an endless loop with really no escape. And the more money they make, the more other companies will just want to be like them. And then that can only be a bad thing. But what do you think about all of this? Let me know in the comments. Thanks for watching. Subscribe. This game is a mess, man. I miss the original Black Ops, dude.